here's the easy part. This is where we're going to update our balances from the trial balance to the balance sheet. We're only going to look at the balance sheet accounts. All balance sheet accounts consist of liabilities, assets, and owner's equity. Let me put them in order. Assets, liability, and then owner's equity. If you'll notice, we have cash, petty cash, accounts receivable, Oakdale School, accounts receivable, campus internet cafe, supplies, prepaid insurance. Those are all of your asset accounts. You have two liability accounts, accounts payable supply depot, accounts payable Thomas Supply Company. Then you have two owner's equity accounts, Kim Park Capital, Kim Park Drawing. They're all transferred to the balance sheet because they're balance sheet accounts. I remember telling you in class that all accounts above income summary is not shown here. But if it were shown, it would be shown under Kim Park Drawing. Anything above income summary is a balance sheet item. Anything below income summary is going to be the income statement accounts, and we'll look at that on the next slide. But notice how they're transferred exactly the way they appear in the trial balance. Cash, petty cash, accounts receivable Oakdale, accounts receivable Campus Internet Cafe, supplies, prepaid insurance are all debits in the trial balance. Those same numbers are transferred to the balance sheet as a debit. Okay? Now, you'll notice that for supplies and for prepaid insurance, the ending balance is on the balance sheet. That ending balance will come from your textbook. You don't have to figure the ending balance. The ending balance will be given to you on your textbook and even on your test. You'll have to figure the adjustment, okay? Now, um, even for the accounts payable, both of those accounts, and for capital and for drawing, they're transferred to the balance sheet on the same side that they appear in the trial balance. We're going to now take a look at how things are transferred to the income statement. Only sales and expenses appear on the income statement. Here is the income statement. Remember, now we see income summary. We didn't see it on the other one, but everything under income summary is an income statement account. Let's look at it. Sales is a credit in the trial balance. It's transferred as the credit in the income statement column. All expenses are debits. Expenses are always debits. I know you've heard me say that so many times, but I want you to pay special attention to insurance expense and supplies expense. Although they do appear in the adjustment section, they still have to be transferred to the income statement. It is a debit. Expenses is a debit, and it's going to be a debit in the income statement. Just remember that all expenses are debits no matter where you see them, and the same numbers are transferred. Insurance expense and supplies expense did not begin with a balance. Their balance was only recorded when the adjustments were done, but that number is still transferred to the income statement. After you have completed the transferring of balances from the trial balance to the balance sheet, from the trial balance to the income statement, it is time to total the income statement columns and the balance sheet columns. We're now going to figure either net income or net loss. Depending on whether sales is greater than expenses, then you'll have net income. If expenses is greater than sales, then you'll have net loss. But for this particular view that you see on your screen, we have net income. Notice that net income is written after you skip a line below your last account in the account title. That last account is not shown, but you do have a blank line above net income, and you will have that. Notice that straight across from net income, you see the amount for net income. Now, totaling the income statement debit and credit columns, totaling the balance sheet debit and credit columns, initially they do not equal. Look at 14,006, no, 1,466, and then 3,565. Those are the totals for the income statement. They do not equal. They will only equal after you have calculated your net income. Notice the totals for the balance sheet. The debit is 7,349. The credit is 5,250. They do not equal. They only equal after you have calculated the net income. Once you've calculated your net income, you will then add up all of your columns, and your debits and credits will equal for the income statement and for the balance sheet. You will draw the double lines after the final total, a single line to signal that you're about to do some calculations. Take a close look at how that's done. That is the way your work should look at the end of your worksheet completion. Now, how do I find net income? I subtract the smaller number from the larger number in the income statement. I subtract the smaller number from the larger number in the balance sheet. And whatever my answer is, I put that under the smaller number. Like 1,466 is smaller than 3,565. That's why the net income is put under 1,466. When you add that back to 1,466, you get 3,565. 3,565. Then you just bring the 3,565 down. And the same way for the balance sheet. 2,099 is added to the smaller number in the balance sheet, which happens to be 5,550. When you add them together, they equal 7,349. That's how your totals are done. Okay, these are just a few reminders. Remember that the date means everything when determining the adjustment amount and where it is to be recorded on the worksheet. That simply means if you're given an end of the month date, that balance will appear on the balance sheet and you'll have to figure your adjustment. Never forget to rule the double lines after verifying equality of debits and credits for each column in the worksheet. Net income or net loss is determined by the amount of sales and expenses in the worksheet, and this is the way it's done. If sales is more than expenses, you have net income. If sales is less than expenses, you have net loss. I hope this tutorial has helped you. And remember that your assignment is due first thing when you walk in the morning. You're going to give it to me, and then we will move on to section 4.